YouTube. So it's been a while. I want to say maybe 2 months since I last uploaded a video. And I just want to give you guys a quick little fill in. As you guys can see by the title, today I'm going to be doing the heat exchanger upgrade to the CSF. I decided to go with the polished one, mainly because mine started leaking. So the last time that I drove this car was back in January the 3rd. It's February 16th today. So it's been a month and a half since I've driven this car. Like I've pulled it out into the driveway here and there, but I haven't really driven it on the street since then. So it's got a minor leak from the heat exchanger. I realized this maybe like 2 days prior before like actually parking the car, and I wasn't really sure where it was coming from because I looked and there wasn't no residue or anything like of coolant being inside the engine bay. And then so I thought it was just something that I had maybe ran over, but um, a couple of days later, I was driving the car and the check engine light came on. I didn't get no errors or nothing saying to, that you normally get when you lose coolant, where it's telling you to park the car, don't drive it, whatever, because of, it might overheat. So I didn't get that. I mean, the car just drove fine. Only the check engine light came on. No warnings, like I said. But, I just drove the car home and I checked it, and the coolant was actually low. It wasn't completely out, but it was on the low end. So that's why the check engine light came on. And I think it was more for the heat exchanger versus the radiator. So the radiator wasn't leaking. Otherwise, that's probably why I didn't get that warning that I'm talking to you guys about that you normally get, let's say if your water pump goes out, stuff like that. So, I ended up looking into it and I realized at the bottom of the heat exchanger was leaking fluid or coolant. And that's when I decided to just leave the car parked. I had no intentions of getting the car fixed because I just wasn't really in the mood to go to any car events. It's been cold, it's been raining. We actually even had snow too, a few weeks ago. And I just wasn't in the mood. I just kind of been focusing on other things on the side, focusing on myself, trying to exercise a lot more, eating healthy. So that's kind of where my focus has been. That's why you guys haven't really seen any videos. And I don't, I mean, I could make random videos, but I'm not sure if it's something that you guys would want to see. And I don't want to ramble on too much, but I just felt like I should kind of, for those that do still happen to watch, I felt like I owed you a little bit of an explanation on what's been going on, why you guys haven't really seen me post anything. I know people want videos of the exhaust driving and stuff like that, so I got to get that done. There is some couple changes that I'm going to be doing to the setup as well, so stay tuned for that. There's going to be a different video for that as well. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So this is what we have right now. The intake's out. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this carbon brace and then unhook this, unhook the fan. I disconnected the battery already just in case. So I'm gonna remove the fan and then jack up the car, put the Jacksons on, and then go ahead and drain the coolant. After that, everything hopefully should be pretty much straightforward. I do have the heat exchanger over there, but I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But yeah, let me go ahead and get this off. I don't think you guys want to see a time lapse, so I'll just pick up the camera once this is off and the fan is out. All right, I'm gonna make this quick because right now I'm so annoyed. So everything was going great, everything was flowing, right? And then I get to the point where I have to disconnect the hoses on the heat exchanger. I got one off. I'm like, cool. Go to try to get the other one out, which I'll show you guys, which is down here. That one, the small one, that one has to get pulled out, right? So I was able to finally get a hold of the clip and pull it out because you're supposed to take the clip out and, unlock it. And then you just pull the hoses out. That's how I got the one down there out, which surprisingly, there's barely any coolant in there. I mean, this shit's empty anyways. But yeah, so I got to this part and I'm like trying to pull the hose out and I'm like, yo, what is going on? So then I get over to this one. I'm like, you know what? I didn't want to remove the radiator out, but I was like, man, I just need to get to it so I can have maybe better leverage to pull this one out. And I can't even get this one out. I was making good progress. I was about to pick up the camera once I got this out because I got the fan out and everything. And I was like, all right, we're good. Just pull the hoses out, pull the radiator, the heat exchanger out without even having to pull the radiator out. This sucks. This sucks ass. Wow. Did not see this coming. Such a simple install. Literally, guys, if you can get these hoses off without a problem, everything isn't that bad. Good thing this wasn't a DIY because let me tell you, the camera. No, I wouldn't have thrown the camera, but a lot of tools would have been flying and a lot of cuss words and whatnot, went on. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. So with that being said, hopefully the next clip, which eventually I'll have this done somehow, whether I'll put it back together, take it to a shop, or have somebody come out here and do it. I will let you guys know what happened after that. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Quick little update before the battery dies, and because I'm not gonna be able to finish this today. So this is the next day. Last night my brother ended up coming by, and between him and I, we were able to pull all the hoses out. And the goal was to only get one disconnected, but I was still having issues, getting the heat exchanger loose and trying to figure out how to get it out. And there's a tutorial that says that you don't have to remove this, but he didn't really show how exactly he got it in and out. So that leads me to believe that he probably struggled a little bit and he didn't want to include that in the video. Because usually if you're doing a full-on tutorial DIY, you include all the steps, right? Instead of just saying disconnect this, disconnect that, pull it out, and then that's technically not a tutorial because a lot of people, they need a step-by-step to see exactly how it was done. And then so anyways, I was trying to just go ahead and remove the radiator since I guess that's the actual process that you're supposed to go by. But I realized that I wasn't able to pull it up because there's a connector at the bottom that's hitting the oil cooler. I decided to just come back and obviously today and try to figure out, see if I could pull it out or pull it from the bottom. But I was like, before I try to do that, let me try to wiggle it one more time and see if I can get the heat exchanger out without removing this. So disconnecting the hoses did help because I was actually able to push it forward a little bit more this way. That side is kind of maxed out, but I still managed to get it out. So hopefully I can get it back in without any issues. I don't see why not, but I think we should be okay. But yeah, like disconnecting the hoses from the radiator allowed me to push this forward, towards the engine a little bit more. And then that just gave me the room to kind of like move the heat exchanger at an angle and then pull it out. So that's what I'm gonna end up doing. I'm gonna go ahead and put the other one on, and then I'm gonna wrap it up for today because I have other work that I need to be doing for my actual job. So hopefully tomorrow I can get everything finished up, and then we can get this car back on the road. So I'll keep you guys updated in just a second. Here's how the heat exchanger comes out of the plastic. It's got this protective plastic foam type material, and then obviously you get some stickers. You got the hardware for the rock guard, and then also this is only if you have the track package on your 340 or 440, which is an extra oil cooler that sits in front of the heat exchanger, which I don't have, so I don't have to worry about that. Obviously, if you have that, you do have to remove your bumper to install this. So luckily we don't have to do that, and because it was already a pain in the butt. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this removed, and then I'll show you guys how it looks like with the rock guard on. Here we have it out of the package. Look how good this looks, and it matches the wheels. Too bad you can't see the top. I would have loved for this to be visible, kind of like how it is on the JDM cars, but unfortunately the plastic and this brace is what covers it. The front of it is going to be a little bit more visible than what I had before, I think. So I think it should look good, even though like you won't be able to see a lot of it. But yeah, like this would have been nice to have this visible, because my end goal is to do a top mount turbo if possible and have the housing polished. on the turbo. And then if I have to do bottom mount, then obviously all my piping is going to be polished. So this would have been like a nice little touch to have with the wheels and everything. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the rock guard on and show you guys how it looks before I go ahead and put it on the car. And as you can see here, everything is put back together. So I'm currently going through the cycle of bleeding the coolant. This is actually the second time doing it. So I'm just letting the car do its thing. I think we're almost done. But yeah, I went ahead and put everything back together. There was no point for me to do a time lapse of me doing like putting it back. But I do want to say that in order to put the fan back, I was able to take it out without removing the charge pipe, right? But then putting it back on, for whatever reason, just wasn't wanting to go in as easy as it came out. Obviously, when it came out, it wasn't too easy, but it came out. So I ended up deciding to take off this section of the charge pipe, just 3 bolts, and then loosen up this clamp here, take it off. That gave me the clearance that I needed to get the fan back in by pushing the silicone coupler inside. So really, I only needed maybe like 1/4 inch. 1/2 inch maybe is pushing it, but from here to here is probably about 1/2 inch to an inch, maybe clearance. I don't know. But yeah, just removing the charge pipe, pushing the coupler back in, allowed me to get the fan back in place. So everything's connected. Pretty much just got to wait for the cycle to get done. I've put about a gallon of coolant, and that's because the radiator drained a little bit. And then also, obviously, the heat exchanger is on the thicker side than the factory one, so it requires a little bit more. But yeah, we're looking good. All right, guys, so it is a few months later. Kind of funny, but I realized that I never finished the video, so I just want to show you guys how the heat exchanger looks behind the bumper. It's really hard to see it, but when it's sunny, you can actually see the heat exchanger popping out. Also, you can see how cooked my bumper is. So I actually have to get this bumper repainted. I'm gonna go probably back to the shop within a week to get it repainted. And then after that, I think I'm gonna look into getting PPF done on the front end. It's gonna be expensive, but honestly, after all this paint work that I've done to the car, I think it's definitely needed. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you stuck to the end of the video, I am going to be putting out a couple more videos pretty soon. I have my exhaust setup video coming up after this one. Also, or I might actually end up doing it after, because I have to do another video for this company that sent me some jack pads for the car. So I think those are pretty neat, which I want to show you guys what they are. So what I'll probably do is skip the exhaust video next and leave that for the third video. But yeah, I'll see you guys at the next one.